Slaughterhouse Five, written by Kurt Vonnegut and released in 1969. Vonnegut begins this book introducing himself and his experiences in Dresden during the firebombing. Unable to capture his experiences with words, he creates Billy Pilgrim to star in his book. His friend's wife, Mary O'Hare, considered Vonnegut and her husband, Bernard V. O'Hare, to be babies during their time of war. Vonnegut swears to title the book The Children's Crusade and not to glorify war. Billy Pilgrim was born in 1922. He was an optometry student and he was drafted into the Army during World War II. Billy would be taken as a prisoner of war, but Billy experienced life different than most everyone else. Yes, Billy lived life in a non-chronological order. He would jump from time to time with no control over where he would be when he opened his eyes. Billy was captured by aliens and brought to live on their home planet of Tralfamadore. These aliens were called Tralfamadorians, and they desired Billy to live in their zoo. They also captured a mate for Billy named Montana Wildhack. The Tralfamadorians teach Billy that free will is only known in human cultures. Since the Tralfamadorians are fourth-dimensional beings, they live outside of the third-dimensional plane. As such, they experience time in a different way. At one point in time, you may be dead, but over here in another, you are still alive. The Tralfamadorians prefer to look at the good parts. Billy adventures through his life through time trips. Time is no longer linear for him. Billy's story will progress in the blink of an eye from one time to another. He will be at war or a prisoner of war, then lunching with optometry professionals. After, maybe he will be an infant, or viewing his own death, or playing golf with colleagues. After realizing he has already seen the entirety of his own life, he accepts the Tralfamadorian truth that there is no such thing as free will. While traveling through his life moment by moment, here are some of the experiences shared in this book. The Battle of the Bulge, being a prisoner of war behind enemy lines, surviving the Dresden firestorm, living life on the planet Tralfamadore, performing an eye exam on a patient, the moments leading up to his death. So it goes. Vulgar, obscene, grotesque, lewd, shameful, and outright un-American. Kurt Vonnegut's story ruffled the feathers of numerous communities and educational establishments. A story which is full of deep, emotional impacted moments in time was also filled with profanity. There were depictions of sexual scenes, including a notion that there was a photo of some sort of bestiality. First challenged and burned in Drake, North Dakota, 1973, Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse Five is gathered by the community from every location that would carry it and burned. There was no tolerance for that kind of American Nazi propaganda displayed in the story. Banned in 1972 in Rochester, Michigan for religious intolerance, a professor would take this ban to the courts for an answer. Todd v. Rochester ruled that the book may remain in the library, but only under conditions. The courts only accept the book returned to the library once the teachers remove it from their curriculum. On top of that, no one could tell the students about it or advise them to read it. In Levittown, New York, 1975, North Jackson, Ohio, 1979, and Lakeland, Florida, 1982. Schools in the area challenged and banned this book from their schools due to the explicit language, sexual scenes, and violence. In 1984, at Washington Park School, it was barred from purchasing the book for restocking of the school's library. The remaining copies remained in the library, but by 1986, they also required parental consent because of torture, language, ethnic slurs, and negative portrayals of women. They did not challenge or ban the book, just made it unavailable for use. This book has continued to be challenged over a dozen times by numerous educational facilities. Slaughterhouse Five is still available in the majority of schools throughout the country. Kurt Vonnegut uses a repetitive quote, "So it goes." This is to capture the audience's attention and make them consider the meaning of death. As people are lost and disaster happens, he would use this quote to inform that death is the only thing guaranteed in life. These are a few quotes with meaning behind them. Why me? That is a very earthling question to ask, Mr. Pilgrim. Why you? Why us, for that matter? Why anything? Because this moment simply is. Have you ever seen bugs trapped in amber? Yes. Well, here we are, Mr. Pilgrim, trapped in the amber of this moment. There is no why. Another is, all moments, past, present, and future, always have existed, always will exist. Another is, that's one thing Earthlings might learn to do if they tried hard enough. Ignore the awful times and concentrate on the good ones. Last one. It is just an illusion here on earth that one moment follows another one, like beads on a string, and that once a moment is gone, it is gone forever. Slaughterhouse Five, what will you decide? There are deep messages and emotional representation throughout the entire book. It is every reader's personal choice to decide for themselves what is good and bad for them.